First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rokak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and a sincere salutation to all you Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity. So I came across this video right here on TikTok, and it's very interesting, because as usual, America is painting Vladimir Putin to be some type of monster, and in all actuality, America's the one that is provoking this whole thing with Ukraine, okay? And that's what they do, That's what they do. They use propaganda as a tool, as a weapon, okay, to demonize other kingdoms, when really they have a sinister agenda to overthrow, okay, and subjugate, everyone, on the earth, all the other kingdoms. The scriptures tell you in Habakkuk. Matter of fact, let's get that. We'll start off with Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. It says, Habakkuk 2:4, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. Right, so he's proud, okay? And his soul, okay, which is lifted up, is not upright. So he's proud, but he's not even right, okay? He's still got a real foul spirit. And, although Russia and America are Edomites both, but still, these westernized Edomites are like the trailer trash of all Edom. So it says, but the just shall live by his faith. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man. Okay, meaning what? His philosophies, he transgresses. Okay, by his philosophies, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied. He's over there asking Ukraine to join NATO. Okay, and that's because he what? Because he enlarges his desire as hell. He wants more allies. He wants more land. He wants to be able to go in there and topple leaders, okay, and bring about democracy and totally, change their culture. It goes on to say, and is as death and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. Okay, and that's what he does. Okay, he is as death. Wherever he goes, he will cause death. Look at all the other nations that he's went into. Look at where Muammar Gaddafi was from. Look at Libya. Look at Syria. You look at Iraq and Afghanistan. The hell that he's caused the confusion by putting his wine, transgressing by his philosophies. Right? He's as death. He enlarges his desire as hell. He wants Ukraine, okay, to join NATO. Okay, and ultimately, that would make United States and Ukraine an ally. Okay, so all that chaos is going with Russia and Ukraine. There's a more sinister agenda. Okay, they've always painted Russia to be, this and that and the other, but really, Russia has been pushing an anti-nuclear position. They don't want to go to war. Okay, and especially use nuclear weapons because they know that no one's going to win. Okay, but Esau want to heap unto him all people. Okay, because he wants to strategically place himself in Ukraine to move on Russia. Okay, because he want to upset the prophecies. He think that he's gonna go and strategically put himself in reach. Okay, of Russia, and have them in his sight so he can destroy Russia. But Russia's the one who's going to destroy America. Okay, so I want to play this and get a couple precepts. Lord willing, this will be edifying.
Подчеркнуть это. Я говорил, но мне очень бы хотелось, чтобы вы меня услышали все-таки в конце концов. И донесли это до своих читателей, зрителей и пользователей в интернете.
So you see here that he wants this message to go out because America is using propaganda to make him to be the aggressor when it's really America has a sinister, a very dark agenda going on here. Okay, I'm gonna continue. I might momentarily stop this, but.
Но вы понимаете или нет, что если Украина будет в НАТО, и
this lady right here is the ambassador of America to the Russians. So it says, do you realize that if Ukraine joins NATO and decides to take back Crimea, okay, through military means, because I guess Russia took annexed Crimea, but Ukraine somehow wants it back through military means because they want to be independent, but and there's a lot more going on. There's a lot more history that for the sake of time we're just gonna get some key points.
Путем будет возвращать себе Крым, европейские страны автоматически будут втянуты в войну.
Right, so the European countries will automatically get drawn into military conflict with Russia. Okay, so you don't want Ukraine to join NATO, man. Let's read this article. It says the Russian-Ukraine crisis explained. It says Russia has gathered as many as 130,000 troops along parts of the Ukrainian border. And on Friday, the U.S. warned we are in the window where an invasion could begin at any time. Okay, now what does America have to do with Russia and Ukraine? Well, America, what we just read, he is a proud man. He can neither keep it at home who enlarges his desire is hell. He doesn't keep at home. Okay, he puts his nose wherever it doesn't belong. Okay, they're like they want to subjugate the whole world, man. Okay, it says, let's just read it. But the Kremlin appears to be making all the preparations for war, moving more military equipment, medical units, even blood to the front line. It's an act of aggression that could spiral into the largest military conflict on European soil in decades. Against this backdrop, diplomatic talks between Russia and the United States and its allies, including a direct call Saturday between U.S. President Joe Biden and Russia President Vladimir Putin, have not yet yielded any solutions. Okay, so they're calling them the aggressors. Okay, and that act could spiral into the largest military conflict on European soil. It says the standoff is about the future of Ukraine, but Ukraine is also a larger stage for Russia to try to reassert its influence in Europe, okay, and the world, and for Putin to cement his legacy, Ukraine joining NATO would just make Russia weaker, and Russia has some very powerful allies like Iran, Turkey, and they just started to really get good with the Chinese. Okay, so World War III is at hand, just like in the other, what was it? I want to say the Second World War. There was the Allied powers and the Axis powers. Okay, these two opposing forces, U.S. and America, these superpowers have their allies. It says the standoff is about the future of Ukraine. Okay, but Ukraine is also a larger state for Russia to try to reassert its influence in Europe and the world, and for Putin to cement his legacy. These are no small things for Putin, and he may decide that the only way to achieve them is to launch another incursion into Ukraine and act at its most aggressive that could lead to tens of thousands of civilian deaths, a European refuge crisis, and a response from Western allies that includes tough sanctions affecting the global economy. Okay, so Putin doesn't want Ukraine to go to to NATO. Doesn't want to ally with NATO in the West. Okay, because Putin doesn't want Western influence in Europe, man. He believes that they're taking too much power into their hands by creeping into different European countries, and because they already established NATO. Okay, and NATO goes into what the beast in Revelation 17. Okay, but it says the U.S. and Russia have drawn firm red lines that help explain what's at stake. Russia presented the U.S. with a list of demands, some of which were non-starters for the United States and its allies in the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. You see, Putin demanded that NATO stop its eastward expansion, right, and deny membership to Ukraine, and that NATO roll back troop deployment in countries that had joined after 1997, okay, which would turn back the clock decades on Europe's security and geopolitical alignment. So this is very important here, okay? Russia's demanding things from the United States and its allies, NATO, Okay, but they're not going for it. Putin demanded that NATO stop, okay, its eastern expansion. They do not want, because America is a superpower along, and basically America's like big brother to these little European nations, and they don't, which is NATO, and he doesn't want the U.S. backing all these other European nations because they're getting too much power, and the Russians know that U.S. wants to move on them, but the U.S. is too, they're cowards. Just to put it out straightly, man. Okay, they want them to deny membership to Ukraine, and that NATO roll back troop deployment in countries that had joined after 1997. So, Russia wants NATO to take back troops that are already deployed in countries that joined as of 97. Okay, so they want NATO to take troops out of, countries that join NATO because they're gaining a big influence on Vladimir Putin, and he's not dumb. He knows that the United States, okay, and NATO, you see, are setting themselves up, okay, to position themselves close to Russia to attack, like if they will upset prophecies. But we're going to go into the prophecy of what Russia plays, right? So it says, these ultimatums are a Russian attempt not only to secure interest in Ukraine. You see, they have interest in Ukraine, but essentially relitigate the security architecture in Europe, right? They want security in Europe, because it's like this. If somebody moves into your backyard, into neighboring backyards, and sets up missiles and troops and all this stuff, you're going to wonder, like, what are these people doing here? What are these troops? What are these soldiers doing around my house? Unless they're going to attack me. And that's where Russia's at. Okay. But Russia has a very great alliance as well. And I'm going to go into that through the Spirit. All right. So it says, these ultimatums are a Russian attempt not only to secure interest in Ukraine, but essentially relitigate the security architecture in Europe, said Michael Kaufman, research director in the Russia Studies program at CNA, a research analysis organization in Arlington, Virginia. As expected, the U.S. and NATO rejected those demands. Both the U.S. and Russia know Ukraine is not going to become a NATO member anytime soon. Okay, but that's not stopping America from sticking their nose, okay, where it doesn't belong. Some preeminent American foreign policy thinkers argued at the end of the Cold War that NATO never should have moved close to Russia's borders in the first place. You see, so NATO, okay, which is, America's allies, okay, they move close to Russia's borders. Why? Because what did we read? They gathered unto him all nations and heaped unto him all people. They're trying to make alliances. Okay, but these alliances, as written in the book of Revelation, they're going to end up turning. What does it say in Revelation 17? The scriptures say the beast shall hate the whore, but let me go back because I don't want to lose my train of thought. Salakia. Eventually, the beast, okay, is going to hate the whore, okay, which the beast is what? NATO, and them 10 horns are the European Union, the EU, the NATO and the EU. The whore, which is America, the beast is NATO, and the EU are those 10 horns, and they're going to ultimately hate the whore. That's in Revelation 17. You can look that up. But where was I at? It says, some preeminent American foreign policy thinkers argued at the end of the Cold War that NATO never should have moved close to Russia's borders in the first place. But NATO's open door policy, right? Open door, right? They want whoever they can get to make alliance with them, they'll do that. Policy says sovereign countries can choose their own security alliances. Giving into Putin's demands would have the Kremlin veto power over NATO's decision making and through it, the continent's security. Okay. So basically, let's get this. Let's get this. Let's go here. Salaki, let me go back. This is the book of Ezekiel 38. It says, and the word of Yahweh Bashem Yashai came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog. Okay, now when you go into this word Gog, what does it say here? Gog. It says, the prophetic prince of Rosh. Okay, Meshach, Tubal, and Magog. Okay, this is the definition that the blue letter has for Gog. Okay, now, that word Rosh, that's where the word Russia comes from. It comes back from that word Rosh. So it's talking about Gog is Russia. Okay, the land of Magog. Okay, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. Now, when you go into this word Meshach, that's where they get the word Moscow from. And Tubal, okay, there's a city in Russia called Tobolsk, okay? So this is speaking about Russia. It says, and prophesy against him, and say, thus say Yahweh, thy power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. Okay, meaning what? The land of Russia. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Okay, the Lord is going to put the spirit on these Russians because these Russians don't really want to go to war. That's a false narrative. Okay, they're trying to make Russia to look like the aggressor because America can paint, whatever picture they want on any nation. They've been doing it for such a long time. Okay, but let's go back to here. Because he's saying in this video, he wants to reiterate, I have said this before, but I would really like you to hear me this time. He's trying to get it out to the world, get it out to the press, okay, that, America is not, playing ball. They're not wanting peace talks. They're doing things to secure position and power. They're trying to get more nations in Europe to set up, basically bases to, and move in on Russia because Russia's a very powerful threat. And he says that, but nobody wants to listen to him. Why? Because they're listening to American propaganda. Now, let's play this.
Подчеркнуть это. Я говорил, но мне очень бы хотелось, чтобы вы меня услышали все-таки в конце концов. И донесли это до своих читателей, зрителей и пользователей в интернете. Но вы понимаете или нет, что если Украина будет в НАТО и военным путем будет возвращать себе Крым, европейские страны автоматически будут втянуты в военный конфликт с Россией. Конечно, потенциал объединенной организации НАТО и России.
Right, he's saying, of course, NATO's united potential and that of Russia are incomparable. He's saying that, if Ukraine joins NATO, okay, or basically allies with America, that it's going to make a war between European nations. So now he's appealing to the Europeans, so to speak, okay, for them to not, fight within this country because, see, America's on this side, right? And he's saying, yeah, no doubt NATO, okay, and America's a part of NATO, has a very, has potential, he says, but so does Russia, and it's incomparable, you see, because he knows that, Russia and NATO, right, these two factions have the ability to destroy the earth, right, with nuclear weapons. Now check this out.
Сопоставим. Мы понимаем. Но мы также и понимаем, что Россия одна из ведущих ядерных держав, а по некоторым компонентам по современности даже многих опережает.
Salaki, let me run that back.
А по некоторым
and is superior to many of those. My bad. Of course, NATO's united potential and that of Russia are incomparable. We understand that, but we also understand that Russia is one of the world's leading nuclear powers. and is superior to many of those countries in terms of the number of modern nuclear force components. So he's saying, yeah, NATO's cold, and he knows that Ukraine and America's whispering in Ukraine's ear. He's saying, but Russia's colder. Hey, what's colder than Russia? He's saying, okay, in terms of modern nuclear force components.
Подчеркнуть это. Я говорю
Salakia.
компонентам по современности даже многих опережает. Победителей не будет.
But there will be no winners.
И вы окажетесь втянутыми в этот конфликт помимо своей
He's
воли.
speaking to America right here, that lady, the ambassador, and you will find yourself drawn into this conflict against your will, right? Because if America is going to have to rise up, because if they're wanting Ukraine to be at alliance, then that's part of your alliance, is that when one of your allies goes to war with another country, you have to rise up. And he's trying to appeal to Americans. He's trying to appeal to the world. Do y'all really want this? Because, basically he's saying, I can blow y'all up.
И вы даже не успеете глазом моргнуть, когда будете исполнять пункт 5 Римского договора. Господин президент, конечно, не хочет этого развития. И я не хочу. И я не хочу.
Either, see?
Поэтому...
And he's talking to the president of France. Okay? Which, if I'm not mistaken, is a part of NATO too. They were supposed to be having peace talks. But he doesn't want war, man. He doesn't want war. It's funny because they're painting a narrative on him.
Поэтому здесь и находится и мучает меня уже 6 часов подряд вопросами, гарантиями, вариантами решения. Я считаю, что это благородная миссия. И благодарен ему за то, что он предпринимает такие усилия. Со своей стороны будем делать все для того, чтобы найти вот эти компромиссы.
For our part, we will do our best to find compromises that suit everyone.
Которые всех устраивают. Хочу еще раз все-таки подчеркнуть.
Okay? But what does it say here? I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields. And it says all of them handling swords. Persia, which is Iran, Ethiopia, and Libya, with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Okay. Here's Persia. Here's Magog, which is Russia. Okay. We know Persia is Iran. Okay. So it says so these Russians are coming with their army, man. Okay. Gog, the land of Magog. I will bring thee forth all thine army, horses and horsemen. It says, even a great company. Let's look at Salakia. Let's look at this word company real quick. Oh my goodness. Company.
Strong's H, 6951. Kahale.
For evil counsel, war or invasion, religious purposes. Right. So they're coming for war, man. They're coming for invasion. And this is biblical prophecy, because they have tried to deter nuclear war, but America and their tactics, okay, whispering in everybody's ear, wanting to get allies, wanting to strategically put themselves in places to irritate other superpowers as Russia, is going to cause the Spirit of the Lord to finally make these Russians, you know what I'm saying, with a bottle of vodka, press the damn button, man. You know what I'm saying? And send those nuclear missiles. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya, with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer, okay, and all his bands and house of Togarmah. Salakia. It says Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all of his bands and many people with thee. Okay, Gomer meaning what? Turkey. Gomer is Turkey. Okay, and Togarmah is what? I believe it's this. Let's see. the son of Gomer. So the Turkish people around that area. Okay. These are the allies of Russia. Okay. Iran, Libya, Ethiopia, Turkey. Look at these guys. These guys are not holding hands like this for no reason. Especially this dude from Iran. Look at this guy. He's smiling. They know for a fact they're the ones who are going to turn out America's lights. Whether America want to believe it or not, they're going to turn the lights out on this bitch. It says, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Torgomar of the north quarters, and all his bands and many people with thee. Right. So in the land of Turkey, around that area. Okay. Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company. This is speaking about the Russians. Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company, okay, that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So Russia's the one that is the superpower among them. Place of confinement, prison, guard, jail, guard post, watch, observance. Right. Russia's the top dog out of these nations, man. So it says, let's jump down here. 10. Thus saith Yahweh thy power, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. Because ultimately they're going to let go of peace talks. You know, man, if you look and you study Russia, and they've been trying to deter nuclear war for a long time, right? Matter of fact, I just read an article where, and you can look this up. It says something to the effect of, they quoted him and Vladimir Putin saying that the world is leading to a path of nuclear destruction. He's saying that. He's warning the world. Okay? But the Lord is going to put the spirit on these Russians to just destroy this place. It says, thus say Yahweh thy power, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. They're going to think an evil thought. They're going to start saying, you know what? The spirit of the Lord is going to be on them to just destroy America. Totally. Okay? And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. Open region, hamlet, unwalled village, open country. This is speaking of America. Okay, I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates, to take a spoil and to take a prey, to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods, that dwell in the midst of the land. Okay, the land of unwalled villages is speaking about America. Okay. So the thing is, because America, you know, they believe they're never going to be touched, right? What does it say? This is Isaiah 47:1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. Okay, which were the wise men of Babylon. For thou shalt be no more called tender and delicate. Okay, right. You know, the land of unwalled villages is speaking about what? The parabolically speaking of what? America. America is Babylon. They are what you call the virgin daughter, okay, of Babylon. They're not talking about ancient Babylon. They're talking about this Babylon, which is America. Okay, America has never been invaded, the mainland. Okay, so they're no more going to be called tender and delicate, right? This place was forever seen as a place that would never be touched. It would never be by war. It could never be defiled by, you know. This is let's jump down here to 5. Sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, because America's known as Babylon, spiritually Babylon, Egypt. Okay. For thou shalt no be called the lady of kingdoms. You see, America's been called what? the Lady Liberty. You know what I'm saying? They can never be touched. Their military is so great. But, you know, prophecy, you know, if you can read prophecy, it states that, you know, America is going to be destroyed. The virgin daughter of Babylon, sit on the ground. There is no throne. Sit in the dust, sit in confusion, sit in destruction. Okay? So that's what you see going on in the world these days. You see? So, Lord willing, this was edifying. Hopefully, you followed me through the Spirit, Lord willing. Again, this was edifying. I want to say shalom.